Now to Hollywood's latest epic adventure, The Martian. It's made more than $108 million over a week and a half in theaters. If you haven't seen it yet, here's the basic idea.
I have no way to contact NASA or my crewmates, but even if I could, it would take 4 years for another manned mission to reach me. And I'm in a hab designed to last 31 days. So, in the face of overwhelming odds, I'm left with only one option. I'm gonna have to science the shit out of this. Okay, let's do the math. I gotta figure out how to grow 4 years worth of food here on a planet where nothing grows. But if I can't figure out a way to make contact with NASA, none of this matters anyway.
Houston, be advised.
We've got a video message. It's directed to the whole crew. Play it.
Mein Gott. Mark Watney's still alive.
Woo! In your face, Neil Armstrong.
So how is the movie as art and as science? Joining me now to talk about it are WGBH arts editor Jared Bone and senior editor at Sky and Telescope magazine. That'd be Kelly Beatty. Okay, let's start with you. No, you, not him. You. What'd you think of it as a movie?
I thought it was a fantastic movie.
Did I. Go ahead.
Here's this time in our right now where we're confronted with negative politics. We're confronted with everything that's happening across the world in Syria, just terrible stuff happening everywhere. And then you have this man, this fictional character, Mark Watney, played by Matt Damon, who is stranded on Mars. It'll take his crew 4 years to get him, and he just finds extraordinary resiliency, and the entire planet ends up rooting for his return. This is a movie that gives us such hope and optimism.
I couldn't agree with every word more. Okay, let's talk about the science. First of all, where did they get, how much did they get right, and was there one piece of science that they got wrong that just put you over the edge, Kelly?
Well, first of all, they followed the book very closely, and I was really thrilled about that. The biggest problem was right at the beginning, the dust storm that causes him to be injured and left behind. You know, Mars has a very thin atmosphere, 1% of what we have here on Earth. A hurricane force wind on Mars would barely lift a kite here on the Earth. So
the whole premise of the whole thing, well, other than that, it was the science was good?
Even Andy Weir admits that he went more for the drama than the science for the opening. He needed some vehicle to get him stranded, and that was a good one.
Before we continue the science discussion, you know, when NASA, you and I discussed this a couple of weeks ago, when NASA announced its discovery that there was liquid water on Mars last month, some thought it was time to help promote the movie. But the movie did actually use the announcement for promotion and featured Jim Green. Green's NASA's Director of Planetary Sciences, who helped a lot with the making of The Martian. Watch this.
Today we're going to announce that under certain circumstances, liquid water has been found on Mars.
Surprise.
I love that little moment. But you know, you taught me too much. I mean, when we were talking about liquid water on the poles and in the soil, while he's doing this thing, he's taking rocket fuel and then doing something with the hydrogen and the oxygen and then it's dripping water. All he had to do was get the water out of the soil, didn't he?
No, not exactly. The location that they're at is very near the equator, and the equator is likely to be baked out. As dry and cold as Mars is, there's not likely to be much water near the surface where he was at in this movie. So it was, besides, it's great that he, you know, burned the hydrogen to make water. Well, what do you want him to do? Just sort of, you know, dig a hole and have it be there?
Yes, that's exactly right. So just staying on the science for a minute, beyond the whole storm thing, which apparently they got totally wrong, on balance, this did track science, no?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Unlike, say, Gravity or Interstellar, those movies, people can envision themselves on the surface of Mars. It is a very Earth-like planet. What I thought they got really, really right was the low atmosphere and all the decompression and the danger of that. You know, it is a very dangerous place.
Okay, I'm going to get back to you in a minute. So now that you know, you saw the movie knowing nothing about science. Is that a fair assumption?
That's very
I don't mean
true.
that critically, but so was I. I'm serious about this. When you find out that it does, for the most part, track reality in terms of science, doesn't that make it even better in some ways?
Well, it completely changes things, because when you think of all the extraordinary things that he had to do in this movie, between growing his potatoes, between reestablishing communication with his crew and the planet and NASA back here on Earth, and mapping his way to where he's supposed to be picked up 4 years hence, and creating his little rover which is going to get him there, and then to realize this could all happen. Again, you go back to the resiliency and the fortitude of a character like this.
Okay, so let's stay on science for I had a million questions. First of all, is that, what's on that tie?
Yeah, this is Marvin the Martian, the original Martian. and this is my everyday coffee cup, too. So.
I was wondering, what happened to the GBH cup?
Look, it's two-sided, too. I love that.
Okay, so Kelly, when the rover, I hope we're not, these are not spoiler alerts. I mean, just go see the movie. When the rocket takes off, The rover takes off to meet the main rocket or whatever you call it. They're concerned back at NASA the thing is far too heavy, so they've got to throw almost everything out. I mean, including the windows and the cone of the thing. I find it really hard to believe, knowing nothing about the science, he could go into space with no windows on the rover and no cone on the thing?
No, I thought that was pretty true and accurate to the real life situation. Remember, he's in his EVA suit. So, you know, the fact that it's open to the world, as it were, really was pretty accurate.
How fast is it going, though, at that stage?
It has to, the escape velocity from Mars is like 3 miles a second, so it's not that great.
So what does this do when a movie like that, I mean, it's sort of, you remember when, after Watergate, both the book and the movie, kids rush to journalism school in huge numbers. Not only is this a wonderful movie, it's doing really well, but it's also scientifically mostly accurate. So does this convince a kid who's watching this, who was thinking of becoming a lawyer or something, maybe I want to do it? Does it have that kind of impact on people or
Jared,
not?
you're going to become an astronaut someday now?
You know what, I had these romantic notions about it, even though it means being gone for about ever. But no, Jim is absolutely right. These movies have a profound impact. Even 101 Dalmatians, people were running to buy the dog afterward. And I
wanted to become a dog walker after I saw that movie when I was a little kid. It's
I
amazing.
think he wanted to be Cruella de Vil after that movie. No, but these movies have a tremendous impact, and NASA could not buy this publicity, I think, in terms of having people rush and support them and view the satellites and understand the science. I mean, look at how much they've probably educated people just through a blockbuster film.
Is that where it was the unholy, I shouldn't call it an unholy alliance, but the strange bedfellows. NASA, from what I understand, on their website was actually promoting this, which I guess, if the science is good, makes sense because you want to encourage people to support NASA. Is that alliance bother you at all?
You know,
or are you okay with it?
I think NASA's in the business of selling itself. And the agency's on an upswing. It's not a 4-letter word anymore. And so I think we can take from this movie a vision of what could really come to pass in 20 or 30 years.
So one last thing, because it'll aggravate him. Sandra Bullock was horrible in Gravity. Can we agree?
The hair thing.
Thank you very much. Jared Bowen, pleasure to see you. It's Kelly, I can always count on you. Kelly Beatty, Sky and Telescope.